It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
The National Football League did not disappoint. How about those 3 games Thursday? Really impressive by Jordan Love. 4 touchdowns, no picks. Packers get out in front of the Lions, and the Lions are just chasing the game. And the Lions they're a good team. They're 7-5, but they're in a hole right now. They are in trouble. And the Packers, meanwhile, may have just vaulted themselves to the top of the division. We got a game today, the Amazon Black Friday game, with the Eagles and the Bears, a couple 8-3 teams. And if the Eagles win that game, and I suspect they will, the Bears are 8-3, but they have played a really soft schedule and they've dominated it. If the Eagles win, then the Packers take over the division lead. So Green Bay, steady as she goes, 8-3-1. That was a big division road win at Detroit. Detroit's got to figure out how to get back into the playoff race now. I think if I've learned anything watching football this year, it's that Ben Johnson must be pretty good because they switched play callers in Detroit, and they're on the outside of the playoff picture looking in right now. They've got some teams to chase down. And meanwhile, Chicago is taking the division lead. Now, if they lose today, they lose the division lead, but nonetheless, they're in the thick of everything in the playoffs, which is a major improvement. And Caleb Williams is playing better. He's improving. He's not there yet, still a work in progress, but they are finding ways to win. So hats off to Ben Johnson. It has hurt Detroit to lose him, and it has been a really good hire for the Chicago Bears. And for Detroit now, well, figure out how to chase down San Francisco. I think if the team's in the playoff race, that's the one they're most likely to catch. But coming up on the outside, the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, with a win over the Chiefs. The Chiefs really started fast, really struggled in the middle of the game, took the lead in the fourth quarter, and the Cowboys came right back and won the game. And just Kansas City could not get the Dallas offense off the field. So Dallas wins, and now they are 6-5-1, and they are a threat in the playoff picture. Now, the problem with Dallas is they win at home, they lose on the road, basically. There are only 2 road wins with the Jets and the Raiders, and they got some big road games coming up, starting with the Lions Thursday night. So that is a massive game for them right there. But they have a pretty winnable schedule after that. If they can figure out a way to beat Detroit, Minnesota, the Vikings and Chargers at home, and then on the road the Commanders and Giants, well, that's a very doable schedule. If other people struggle, well, Dallas could look pretty good down the stretch here. And then the third game, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow with a couple of touchdown passes. The Ravens with 5 turnovers, 4 of them fumbles. They just could not get out of their own way. And an easy 32-14 win for the Bengals as they win in a blowout. Now, the Bengals improved to 4-8. And, why would Joe Burrow come back? Because that division is still winnable. They are 2 games behind the Ravens, and the Steelers are 6-5. And leading the division now. And the Ravens are 6-6. And the Steelers today have a very losable game. They're playing the Bills at home. Buffalo, they can win that, and Buffalo's 7-4, fighting for a wild card. Probably not going to win the division. Maybe they could. But that'd be highly motivated. We'll see if Buffalo gets it together. They've lost 4 of their last 6 games. So if the Steelers lose today, the Bengals are just 2 games out of first place, and they've got a winnable schedule down the stretch. Can't completely rule them out either. Heck of a day. All right, we got the Eagles today. Tons of playoff implications there. The Eagles, of course, just coming off that loss to the Cowboys, there's been a lot of negativity around a Super Bowl championship team that at 8-3 had the best record in the NFC until recently. Now the Rams do. We'll see if the Eagles can pull it together today. And then Sunday, another big slate of games coming up. As far as the playoff goes, I mean, the real marquee matchups were on Thanksgiving, but I am intrigued by Texans at the Colts. The Colts have been dominating, but they just took an L, and if the Texans win, they're only 1 game back in the division race. So that is a huge game Sunday in the AFC South. Really intrigued by that. The Shedeur Sanders' story will continue. The Niner defense, much better than the Raider defense. How will Shedeur look against the Niners at home? Niners had some injuries, but they're still playing great defense. Even without Bosa, even without Fred Warner, the former Cougar, their defense has been outstanding. So, all right, there's the NFL. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
The Utes kick off at Kansas at 10 a.m. this morning, going for win number 10 for Kyle Whittingham. That would be quite the exclamation point on the season. 10-win teams, hard to come by. Utes have had 10 of them ever. Ronnie Mack had 1. Urban Meyer had 2, actually, and then Kyle has had 7. So to get 10-2 in the regular season, not using a conference title game or any bowl game or anything like that, Kyle did that back in 2019 when they actually won 11 games, which is the third most wins in school history. The Fiesta Bowl team won 12 and the Sugar Bowl team won 13. So the Utes getting into rarefied air. That's the good news. They ought to beat Kansas. They ought to set the school rushing record. They need about 188 yards to get that. That was set back in 1984. So if you're looking for little milestones, they can add that in. Only one team this year has held them under 200 yards rushing. That was Texas Tech. We got like 202 against BYU, and the numbers have been astronomical against everybody else. So I'd assume they get that record, win this game. They're 10.5-point favorites, and then settle in for the Arizona State game. There's a complicated scenario where the Utes do still have a path to the Big 12 title game, but they have to win first off to start the dominoes falling, and then they need Arizona State to beat Arizona tonight. Actually, I think Arizona healthier, playing a lot better football here at the end of the year, and I think I pick Arizona to win that game. It's a rivalry game, you never know, and it ought to be close. They're both 8-3. But if Arizona wins, then there's no tiebreaker scenarios for Utah. If Arizona State wins, then the Utes would actually have to root for BYU to win, and they need Texas Tech to lose at West Virginia. That is the only combination that would send them to the Big 12 title game. If BYU were to lose to UCF, that actually opens the door for Arizona State if they win. So it's a slim chance, but the Utes have to win. They have to have Arizona State win tonight, and then tomorrow they need West Virginia to upset Texas Tech and BYU to beat UCF. That is the path to the Big 12 title game. But all they can do is go out at 10 o'clock and try to win game number 10. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
BYU gearing up tomorrow for Senior Day to host UCF to get win number 11 and to send themselves to the Big 12 title game. It is all on the table. They're favored to handle UCF easily tomorrow. I would expect they would. However, that win might not be the win that sends BYU to the Big 12 title game, because it turns out in all the complicated scenarios, BYU is in with a win, but they are also in if Arizona State loses. If Arizona State is out, then BYU's got all the other tiebreakers, and they can back in with a loss. So, Cougar fans, if you want to watch tonight about 7 o'clock, Arizona and Arizona State play the Territorial Cup. And if the Arizona Wildcats win that thing, then it's set. Texas Tech is in, BYU is in, and they're not playing for anything tomorrow other than pride, stay in rhythm, send the seniors out the right way, win at home. I mean, there's all those things to play for, but they're in. The Big 12 title game ticket will not necessarily get punched at 11 a.m. in Provo. It could get punched tonight down in the desert. So gives you a little something to watch, a little something to pay attention to. Even if you don't want to watch the game, at least check the score, because it could all be over in the Big 12 tonight. Arizona ranked 25th now, and Arizona State ranked 20th now. Turns out they've got a lot riding on that game. I don't know how much that, well, they have a lot riding on it. Rivalry game, 9th win. And Arizona State still does have a path. If they win the game to get in, they would need everybody else to lose. So there you go. Actually, they don't need everybody else. BYU would do it for them. But they also get in if Texas Tech and Utah lose. So there's a couple paths there for ASU. It's not great, but they've got to win tonight, because if they lose, then it's Texas Tech versus BYU in the Big 12 title game. All right, DJ and PK.
Utah Jazz.
The Utah Jazz host the Sacramento Kings tonight at the Delta Center. This one gets underway a little on the late side. It's going to tip at 7:30. NBA Cup games should have the funky-looking floor out there. Jazz have already lost to Sacramento once, a one-point game out in Sacramento. Both these teams sitting on 5 wins. Both these teams near the bottom of the West, where I would expect them to be. Sacramento, though, should be a little better team this year. And Sacramento has won 2 of their last 3 games. They beat the Denver Nuggets. Who are you and what have you done with the Kings? They beat Denver and they beat Minnesota. They've won 2 of the last 3. They also lost to Phoenix. So, Jazz and the Kings tonight, 7:30. Listen to the game on 97.5 The Zone.
College basketball.
BYU defeats Miami 72-62, playing in the Terry Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational, whatever the heck that is in Florida. BYU gets a 10-point win. The story of the game, Kennard Davis Jr., 18 points. He missed 2 games after the accident and cited for DUI, and I think that's surprising to everybody that he's back after 2 games. Now, if you want to defend him, well, Coach was on the scene right away. He knows what's really going on, so this is okay. And if you don't like BYU, then it's like, only 2 games? Since when? Is the honor code all gone? Well, the honor code's not all gone. The BYU was just loaded up for what looked like a great season, and they sent their senior quarterback packing. So I wouldn't say the honor code's all gone. But at the same time, 2 games does raise eyebrows. So they haven't said anything yet about whatever circumstances there might be, because normally if you hear DUI, you'd think a longer suspension. He does have a court hearing coming up on the 12th, so he totally gets saying nothing before a court hearing. You know, if the charge is dismissed then or something, maybe there's more of an explanation. But I think it'll be 2026 before we get more of an explanation and find out whatever details there are that intrigue you. BYU's back at it today. They play Dayton tonight, and the game's on ESPN at 7:30 as that tournament continues. And for the Utes, how about the win over Ole Miss? Hit 2 big free throws with 4 seconds left and get a win. That is easily the biggest win of the Alex Jensen era. All right, that is What is Trending, brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Call the experts at Shamrock Plumbing. All right, the question of the day is now. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time for Hot Takes or Toast, the question of the day. PK, we have so many football questions. We're going to run out of football days for all our football questions.
Oh, I plan to be on Earth a lot longer, so we've got time to answer them.
Let's take a look at the game. UCF 5-6, BYU 10-1. BYU by a lot.
This would be the most soul-crushing loss.
There are people not over you asking that last week. Last week I thought it was spot on. This week I know when they play the game, anything can happen on any given Saturday. I just don't see it.
Oh, neither do I. But I thought it was more legitimate or more seeable last week.
100%. You're on the road, traveling 2 time zones, playing a good team that was desperate because they'd lost 2 in a row. I just thought BYU's strengths lined up well against Cincinnati, and that game played out almost exactly the way I thought it would. I think I picked 31-20. It was 26-14. I trusted Jay's defense to keep Cincinnati under wraps, and they did. Now this UCF game, UCF just seems overmatched. I mean, they're 5-6. They've got to fly all the way across country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're not the better team. I'm looking at the way they've performed on the road this year. And as you might expect, the struggle has been real. They went to Kansas State and lost by a couple of touchdowns.
Yes.
They went to Cincinnati, lost 20-11. They went to Baylor and lost 30-3. They went to Texas Tech and lost 48-9. I'm having a hard time seeing why it is they're suddenly going to figure it out on the road.
They're not going to. The Baylor loss is the one that really screams out to me. The Cincinnati one wasn't bad. The first one you mentioned, and then Texas just annihilates just about everybody they play, obviously. And so with that in mind, Baylor has not been knocking the socks off of people, and for UCF to lose to that game, to that situation, that just isn't good.
I was looking at the defensive numbers, and I think Baylor, in terms of scoring defense, just in the Power 4 leagues, is like the 6th worst scoring defense, and they held UCF to 3 points. Tech held them to 9. Cincinnati to 11. Their big performance on the road is K-State 20. Again, I think the BYU defense is going to have a really good day, and I think the offense is going to open it up early enough that this is going to be pretty comfortable, and people aren't going to have to stay for 4 quarters. Although the challenge here is getting there on time. It's an early game.
11 a.m.?
11 a.m., yeah. Super early. ESPN 2.
Yeah, it's all right, though. That'll be fine. November, this late in the season, senior day, obviously.
You'll be out of there by 2:30 if you stay for the whole game.
Yeah, so you're going to have a family weekend, friend weekend, whatever you're doing there. So you get to the stadium, enjoy the game, and go have turkey leftovers. You got to have turkey leftovers.
I totally agree. Turkey leftovers are the best.
Yeah.
UCF is 5-6. We should also point out that they started 3-0 against a soft non-conference schedule. They are 2-6 in league play, and they played them all in a row. So they have lost 6 of the last 8 games, and they just beat Oklahoma State 17-14.
Yeah, barely beating Oklahoma State, which shockingly has turned into by far the worst program in the Big 12, and none of us would have seen that going into it. But at least they did win that game, and they do have a chance to get bowl eligible, but I wouldn't put it on them there. I think the one, if you want to look at it, was at home. I think the Houston loss by 3, maybe gives you some hope there that they might be able to put up a fight. And
Houston by 3 and Kansas by 7 are the two would make you think, well, maybe.
Yeah. But BYU is playing this group of guys together at an all-time high level of confidence. And so they ought to...
They had to take them apart.
Yeah, it's set up for them to have a crowning achievement day, and they should celebrate going 11-1 and celebrating getting the opportunity to have the rematch against Texas Tech. All those things are worth celebrating. There's no doubt about it, and I've got no problem with them celebrating any of that stuff. Why not? This is what it's about. Celebrate the good times. And they've got good times. Now, I guess that's a song, but I didn't really mean it that way. Just came out.
Cool in the gang. All right.
Yeah, I didn't intend to say that. I intended to say it, obviously, but I did not intend to draw a song lyric from it. And do what you do there, and then you've got the rest of the day, and they talk about, okay, the rest of the day, and then it's over, and then you get down to business and preparation for what we expect will be Texas Tech. The following week, and that's the starting time will be the exact same. I think it's 11 o'clock Central Time the following week, so you can be in that routine a little bit, and a widely, highly anticipated game to see what we got going. And for BYU, everything is there that you wanted in a football season, ever. And you don't have to have somebody say, for now, right now. Maybe if you lose that game the following week, you need somebody to throw you a bone. But right now, you don't.
If you win the next 2, you take care of business, you're in the tournament. If you don't sweep the next 2 games, then you need a break.
I don't think you do, but I get people do think that. Yeah, that'd be ridiculous to me, but... What do I know? So we'll worry about that at that time. And the thing about it is your pattern of winning offensively, it's not the Ty Detmer throw 3 interceptions and 7 touchdown passes.
Nope.
So nobody cares about the interceptions because you're chucking the ball all over the field all the time and you win 54-28. That's not the formula for this program this year. It's to play that great defense. Minimally be even in special teams. Maybe they can give you an advantage, but don't give you behind the chain, so to speak, special teams wise, which has happened a couple of times. And then play the sufficient, take care of the ball at all costs offense. And it may not be the sexiest way to win, but it's the way it's designed to win right now. And get the ball to L.J. Martin, let him do his thing. Ideally, what you would like, obviously, is to have a big lead and get him out of the ball game, and limit Bears carries.
Ideally, a big lead and get everybody out of the game. I totally see where you're going with this. That's a huge game with Texas Tech. You need all your guys. The fewer bumps and bruises, the fewer sprained ankles,
the better off.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's they can't say that, but I think that's
the message has to be jump on them early.
Control the game. Now, I don't know that they're capable of jumping on people. Control the game.
They're not capable of jumping on a lot of people. I think they're capable of jumping on UCF at home.
Well, but they need these plotting type drives.
They tend to, yeah.
So I don't know that it can be 21-0. I don't know if there's enough time, unless you come up with a defensive score or short field, to do that in the first quarter.
They're not completely big play challenged, but I get your point.
Right.
They can make big plays.
Just be comfortable after one.
And they can get turnovers and then get short fields.
Be really comfortable after two. Maybe play a series or two after three, and then take their helmets and pads. I guess you probably couldn't do that in case you're sending a bad message, but ideally that's the objective. Get the younger dudes in there, get your stars out, your starters out, and get Jack Kelly, Glasgow. We all know who the guys are. Get them out of there and just have a great time. And then you always know if they think they're going to win, because nobody wants a senior day, because they've had a few of these back in the old days, especially as an independent, where the game's at 8:30 and you're playing Idaho State or whatever, and you did it after the game. And then they go, well, wait a second, we don't want to do it after the game if we lose, so they do it before the game. So if they have the senior thing after the game, then that'll tell you they expect to win.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a little early, but the family and friends who want to be there to honor their youngsters will be there. If the game started at 8 a.m., they'd be there. Mom will be there at 7. Dad may be straggling a little bit, but you know darn well Mom will be there.
7:45. I was there in time. What are you looking for before?
Mom will be there at 6:30. So this is just a great crowning achievement day. And for a program that I think I can say surprisingly has elevated itself to this level this quickly. To go 5-7, and granted Slovis got hurt. Probably if he stays healthy, you win one or two more games. But you go 5-7 in your first year, and then the next year you're winning 11 games in each of the next 2 seasons. I did not see that coming, man. And especially last year you start a new quarterback. This year you start a new quarterback. You start a freshman, no less, not somebody in the program. He doesn't get on campus until late. All that stuff goes on there, and you still don't miss a beat. You got to just say bravo, job well done, because coaches take a ton of heat when things don't go right, and when things go right, they need to be praised.
I agree, but they're still taking heat from the crazies out there.
That's very. But see, that's your social media stuff, to where you read a couple of things. That's the world in which we live. The anonymous social media dude or dudette is always going to be out there. I don't consider that legitimate.
They still take heat.
But you're not taking heat from the people who matter. Who cares? No, the people who matter, the Brian Santiagos of the world, aren't giving these guys heat.
They know 10-1's a good thing.
Yes. So you're never going to have a universal whatever.
They've won. What is the record now?
No, you shouldn't.
What is the record now?
What do you mean? They're 10-1?
But over 2 years.
They were 11-2, and they're 10-1 right now. And we expect them to go 11-1.
21-3.
Yeah. Right, but that doesn't. That's like put a sign at the end of the court. End racism. We solved it. No problem. It's done now. Not in today's world. You're always going to have idiots.
So right now, the only idiots are anonymous fools on social media and the College Football Playoff Committee.
Well, they haven't made a final ruling.
They have not.
And no one's bagging on BYU on the college. No,
just not giving them their flowers.
It is a slanted, biased system to begin with. That has nothing to do with the Cougars.
The game is rigged when it comes to the playoff. The SEC wants their 5 bids, and they're going to get them. Well, they want 6 or 7.
And maybe over the long term, it'll sting in the short term, but maybe over the long term, that'll actually help it.
How so?
Because you're saying, wait a second here, you're not going to invite BYU, and they go 11-2, 2 seasons in a row, and you invited SMU. Because you say the thing is rigged, and you always go to the SEC, but SMU's not in the SEC.
Fact.
So they got in.
They did.
And so I don't know why you're totally eliminating it. You're overlooking.
Well, I think
one
the reason with
critical
SMU is because there's two reasons that it always goes to SMU. One is that this BYU season is playing out a lot like the SMU season a year ago. And also a year ago, BYU won at SMU.
Okay.
So I think those are two reasons that I, along with a lot of other people, but I'll own it because I'm doing it, I'm defaulting to SMU over and over.
And how so?
Because I've brought up SMU a million times. I did just bring up the SEC here. It's rigged in favor of the SEC. But SMU got a break that I think BYU isn't going to get, if you consider that
Why
a break.
not?
They got a large bid.
Oh, I think it's a break.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Well, break means maybe they didn't earn it.
No. Okay, fine. I'm fine either way.
Maybe the debate shouldn't have been BYU versus SMU. Maybe it should have been BYU SMU versus, I don't know, Tennessee. Or pick somebody else who got in at large last year. There's always a presumption. Well, it's the ACC versus the Big 12 because, of course, the Big 10 and the SEC are in.
Understood.
And
I'll go with that.
Earlier this week, we had on Shahan Jayaraja, who, when I asked him about, hypothetical matchups, because we're never going to see them, even if BYU gets in, they're not going to play Alabama. What would BYU Alabama look like? And he went right to Alabama doesn't run the ball well, and BYU defends the run well. So Alabama probably didn't run the ball, and now they're one-dimensional and thrown into the BYU defense. That could be a real problem.
Okay, I still don't understand why you think SMU would get the so-called break that BYU wouldn't get. I don't understand
because
that.
BYU's spent so much of the season below the line, and SMU spent so much of the season above the line last year. SMU was in the field week after week after week. And I just don't know that BYU – They haven't been seen that way all year long, and whatever happens in the conference title game could sink them.
It also could propel them without winning.
I just don't see that. And it's a beauty pageant, so I can't tell you you're absolutely wrong because they can do whatever they want. I just don't see them doing that. I don't see 11-2 BYU getting in. I think BYU needs to be 12-1 to get in. I think the penalty for losing, they will be heavily penalized, and they'll take care of Miami or Alabama.
Not if they play
else.
well. Not if they give Texas Tech a game and there's 5 minutes to go. No, I believe in the integrity of people who I don't know have any integrity. But I'm going to assume
You're
they
going
do.
to assume that even though you don't know these people.
Correct.
Well, with one exception. Mark Harlan. He's on the committee now.
And I'm going to assume he has integrity. And I can take shots at the guy all you want.
Well, I think that the national discussion would be having integrity would mean sticking it to BYU and sticking it to your conference, because I think the reason they have an AD on from every conference is because they know everyone assumes, well, they're going to pull for their conference.
And I think he will.
There's literally payouts involved, so I get why people think that.
He'll see the situation being what it is. It's not like, oh my gosh, our program's over here in the toilet and we can't let BYU continue to pull away. They haven't pulled away from Utah. Right now, we're back to where we were 12 years ago.
Fourth quarter lead changes, dramatic finishes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've gotten past the independent era. Is long gone, even though it's just briefly gone. But the complexion of the program changed. And so now these two are, in my mind, they're even. You have a 3-point ball game in somebody's stadium. Don't be running your mouth like you're the dominant program here. Come on. That's just not right. It's not true. That's not who they are. And so I think Harlan has got a job to do, and I believe he's, to quote Barry Switzer, he's going to do it, baby.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. More football on the day after Turkey Day. College football taking over. Although now we have pro football on Friday, too. College football taking over here for the next 48 hours. DJ and PK, we'll get to that next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, PK. Utah and BYU. They're playing. They'd love to see some of the big dogs lose. Who gets upset? Who do you think is at risk and could open the door so that our teams could climb? Let's have a dramatic, chaotic day.
Well, I think it's an extreme long shot for Utah.
Yeah.
But it's not who do you want, who do you need? It's like, for instance, if Georgia gets upset, so what? You'd actually want Georgia to win.
Oh, yeah. If Georgia Tech beats Georgia, and that game's coming up at 1:30 today, if Georgia would have 2 losses, I don't think it knocks them out. Tech, though, at 10-2, maybe they jump back into the picture. That's a marquee win.
Right.
That's a bad loss they just had to Pitt because it's like Texas Tech and BYU. They weren't competitive early on, and they're looking for a reason to doubt them anyway, and it's a second loss.
So if Purdue, which won't happen, but if they should upset Indiana, it doesn't matter.
Nope, Indiana at 11-1 gets in.
Yeah.
I do think that if Ole Miss loses to Mississippi State at 10-2, and then after the game, Lane Kiffin says he's going to LSU or Florida, I wonder if Ole Miss will get left out. 2 losses, and your coach is gone, and that means how does that change motivation and all that? I wonder. Mississippi State's 5-6. It's not. It's a bad loss.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
A&M in Texas obviously is a possibility.
A&M would not be knocked out with a loss. Texas probably doesn't vault back in with a win, but I guess you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. You never know.
I think it vaults them into the discussion, but I don't think it actually gets them in.
I think the late game, if the Sun Devils win, I think that vaults them into an at-large bid just because we like Kenny.
Big Fox, 8-3 Arizona at 8-3 ASU. This is a good matchup. This is a good game to have in-state rivals playing with 8-3 records.
But do you know the thing that bugs me?
What?
Is that for most of the season, they've got to play at night because it's too blazing hot. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't show off the existence of the city of Phoenix and the existence of the city of Tucson. Mm-hmm. And that is 1:30 in the afternoon in 71-degree weather.
Yeah.
And a sunny skies.
For a while
I hate when this game is at night.
For a while, they were playing this game at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that.
It should be.
And it became like a standard. It was like part of my Thanksgiving weekend routine. I knew, okay, Arizona's going to play Arizona State Friday afternoon.
Yes.
And they had the thing locked in.
Right.
And the sun was out, and everybody else is shoveling snow or has the umbrella out against the rain, and they're running around, and then they take a shot. There's a bunch of co-eds up there, and everybody's in short sleeves.
Right.
And they swing their hair, and the hair flies around. Everybody else's hair is under a beanie that's got the little ski beanie with a little fluffy ball on top.
Always bugged me when they play this game at night, because I always thought it should be in the day, because you got to play all the other games. It's too hot. And
the Chamber of Commerce should be buying a time slot.
And they show in September people that look like they're dehydrated and been wandering the desert for 40 days.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's so blazing hot.
Yep.
And you finally get some good weather, and they stick it to you then. So that's just a personal issue. I think, unfortunately for the Devils, I mean, they've been scraping by. But the situation being what it is, if the team was at full health, but it's not, and so what? But I think Arizona's got enough offense going there. It's going to be difficult, but who knows? Maybe. Although I would take 8-4 with a chance. If you go 8-4, then probably you get a lesser bowl opponent, so you got a better chance to win. And 9-4, if you're an ASU fan and any 2-year time period,
you win 19 games.
If you win 20, if they go 9-4,
yeah, right. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I would
cheat them out of the conference title win. I forgot about that.
I would take that.
Yeah,
any 2-year period.
20 wins in 2 years.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Yeah, that's
a lot of winning.
That's pretty good.
Ohio State, Michigan. This feels like Texas A&M. Ohio State's not falling out of the tournament if they lose, but Michigan could vault up. I actually take Michigan getting in more seriously than I do Texas. Michigan would be 10-2. Texas would be 9-3. Michigan 10-2 with a win over Ohio State.
I can't argue that.
I know. And Alabama with like 4 wins, Notre Dame's the team that should be gone. It won't happen. Or Alabama. I just don't think Alabama and Oklahoma have beaten more ranked teams. Notre Dame's lost to 2 ranked teams. And lost to 2 very good teams.
Yeah, but there's 2 words that favor Notre Dame.
Notre and Dame. Or fighting and Irish. Which ones?
If you want to go the nickname, fine. I don't see them getting left out. They are going to, I believe, always have the easiest non-automatic invitation.
Unless Stanford does the unthinkable in Palo Alto.
They're hot.
Okay, they just beat Cal with 2 defensive scores.
They're hot.
And it was cool that they were interviewing Andrew Luck, and he ran right by him, and he's screaming. It was very good TV.
You're hardly ever having that.
It was very good. He realized, hold on, I got to see this. And then he's following, get it. And then he's right in line with the runner. I mean, like in a movie, they would have had to choreograph that to make sure they got it right. And then it happened live, and they got it right.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's favored by 32.5 points, so I don't think Stanford's going to pull that off. They used all their big plays to shock Cal and get Wilcox fired. Okay, so Auburn could beat Alabama. Is that the one? Alabama 5.5-point favorite.
On paper, they can.
I don't think any of these things are going to happen, but if I had to rank them in order of what is most likely to happen, I suppose that's where you got to go.
Okay. Fine. I'm with you on that.
Vanderbilt is kind of in the mix at 9-2. So if Tennessee could beat Vandy and at least get them out of the mix, that doesn't get you in, but at least to make sure somebody else doesn't get in.
What?
If Vanderbilt wins at Tennessee, they'll be 10-2, and there'll be pressure to put another SEC team in. Now, maybe at the expense of an SEC team, and maybe Vanderbilt is like what I said earlier about this puts them in the conversation, but it doesn't get them in. But I just think you would prefer the Tennessee beat Vandy, and then Vandy's got 9-3, and then there's no
Understood.
talk. Eliminate those guys.
I agree.
Can LSU 7-4 go in and beat 9-2 Oklahoma? Oklahoma didn't look great against Missouri. Well, that's not true. The defense looked great. Can't blame the D. They gave up 2 field goals. The D did their thing.
Yeah.
But the offense, you don't get to win a lot of college football games with 17 points. Could Oregon lose at Washington?
Yes.
Oregon 6.5-point favorite.
Yes.
So if LSU goes into Oklahoma and wins, and Oregon goes up to Seattle and loses to Washington, that could open 2 spots, and then chaos could reign.
I think Washington is sneaky good, and Jed Fish desperately wants a better job.
So he's 8-3, coach him up, win that game, turn heads, and now anyone can sell it in a press conference.
Yeah. Right. That's a dangerous game. If I'm Oregon. Extremely dangerous game.
So those are the 2 we're looking at because Notre Dame is not.
I wouldn't think so. No, I mean, Stanford was like 87-point underdog and they beat USC several years ago.
So the third one then on rivalry weekend to look at would be Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I mean, a lot of these, the 3 unbeatens aren't falling out. Even if Texas wins, I just don't see that it does anything.
How about West Virginia throwing the kitchen sink at Tech?
Okay, number 1, I do not believe that's going to happen. Number 2.
Yeah, but you don't believe any of these things are going to happen.
Number 2, no, that's... well, I certainly would put, let's rank them on their availability to happen. I would say that would probably be 4th. I mean, I think Oregon at Washington is clearly the one that's most likely to happen, although I don't know if the odds makers think that. Yeah, I don't pick against 23.5-point favorites very often. You're right.
You go with the brand.
Do you pick against 23.5-point favorites? Because that's what Tech is at West Virginia.
It's not about picking. It's about the possibility. No, I would not. No, I'm not. But it's the possibility. West Virginia has improved as the season progresses, and Rich Rod is an extremely creative offensive mind. We all agree on that, right?
He is.
Both teams have had a bye, so that sort of levels it out. But they are at home.
Is good. And they could win a shootout. I mean, we've said since the start of the year, and that's how they beat Houston, which is their best win so far. They won 45-35. Now, I just have a hard time, having watched Texas Tech's defense just smother both Utah and BYU.
It's not going to happen by all thought processes.
But if it's going to happen,
we're throwing stuff out.
But if it's going to happen, it will happen with a coach like Rich Rod.
Yeah.
Who is wildly creative offensively. The defense is hit and miss, but you get some turnovers and you win a crazy high-scoring game.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They beat Pitt.
Wouldn't bet anything on
They beat Pitt 31-24 in overtime, and that really came out of nowhere. And especially the way these 2 seasons have gone. I mean, it looks. You always used to talk about the Pac-12 has 4 or 5 stunners every year, and if you go nationally, and you're looking for stunners 4 or 5. I think you've got to go right there with West Virginia and Pitt.
It was early.
UCLA.
I just don't know enough about Pitt
UCLA
to
beating
make that.
Penn State.
In retrospect, no.
But at the time.
Maybe
Penn State was broken by Oregon, literally broken. They broke them. They were all in on that. When they lost, everything fell apart.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm not ready to make that statement in the Big 12 that I always made in the Pac-12. For one, I had 40 plus years of history. Here, I've only got 2 or 3. But I just the Big 12 teams don't seem to have some of these skill players. Like the Devils had no business beating Oregon a few years back, but Jaden Daniels to Brandon Ayuk. The Oregon State came in and they stunk, and Sean Mannion to Brandon Cooks. Right?
Tech losing to ASU. Okay, so if they lose, they should lose. I know. I was going to say, if they lose to a team that's 6-2 in conference.
Well, and 15-2 when they have the quarterback and,
right, and the wide receiver.
Yeah.
And BYU's loss is at Texas Tech, so that's not a stunner. Utah's losses are to Texas Tech and BYU, not stunners. So ASU, were you stunned by either of the ASU losses at 6-2?
No.
Because then now we're down to teams that are 5-3, and almost by definition, that's not stunning.
No. We haven't had the monumental upsets in this conference.
No.
Oh, hopefully we don't get one tomorrow in Provo.
But maybe we get one in West Virginia, Morgantown.
Oh, you know what they say about Morgantown?
What do they say about Morgantown? All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.